Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Yes You Can Project podcast. I am so happy today to be joined by the gorgeous Liz. Hello, Liz.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited. Honestly, you are like a bundle of energy. It's great. I love it. So for anybody who doesn't know, could you just give me a quick introduction, Liz, into kind of who you are and what you do, please?
Okay, so I'm Liz Farahadi and I am the founder and the director of the Soho London Independent Film Festival. I'm also an actress. I am also a writer and producer.
Amazing.
Yeah, that.
Amongst a million other things, you do so much.
Well, there's a few other things, but those are boring.
So going back to the Soho London Independent Film Festival, can you tell me a little bit about kind of what sparked the idea behind that and how you ended up getting that out there into the world?
Oh gosh, okay, well I'll try and shorten that up because that's a bit of a long story. But I basically I became an actress and which I love. I love performing. I love telling stories through film, and I've had how to put it, a very interesting, colourful life. I've got a lot of experiences, and what I found was that everything I was getting cast in, or even just scripts I was being sent, I was like, well, this just doesn't represent my life as a woman or any women that I know. And I just felt like it was all these kind of sort of like very one-dimensional ways of going, oh yes, let's pop the little woman in here or this and that. And I really just got a bit tired of myself complaining about it. So I started writing my own material.
Yeah.
And that was the point when I realized just how difficult it is to get things made.
Yeah.
Because if you aren't the right age, in the right box, and you've got to be young, all of that to get the support, or you've got to have already made it to get support. If you have the nerve to actually start trying to do this stuff as an older woman, oh,
how dare you?
I know, it's kind of like what you're supposed to be like hiding under the rug now, making cups of tea, and so I was kind of like, wow, hang on a minute though, we've got such important stories to tell.
Of course.
With age, you have more stories to tell. And it really blew me away that there was just this cutoff of kind of like, oh no, there isn't any support there.
Yeah.
It can't happen. And I thought, this is terrible. There needs to be some kind of support network that is actually open to everybody, no matter what your background is, no matter what your age is, no matter where you're from, or any of those things. So that's what inspired me to set up the Soho LIFF, which was really a place where I wanted to create a safe space that was about supporting and helping people from everywhere, be totally inclusive, and give people opportunities to be able to get into filmmaking, to tell their stories, and also to champion films that have important messages. So we champion films with either social or environmental impact.
Yeah.
We love all films of all genres, but that's what we're really pushing behind. And then also as well, it was about creating opportunities for people. So something that is really commonplace in the film world is that you can go and do these incredibly expensive courses.
Yes.
And it means nothing, because you are hiring people to come and work on set. We all work with limited funds, and if you've got somebody who's never been on set before, well, you haven't got time to teach them on set, and it takes a while to learn these things. So I created a series called the Soho LIFF Spotlights, which is where we interview like industry experts, and we do it in a TV studio. And what we do is we're kind of an experienced team, and then our volunteers for the festival, we get them in and we work with them, and we get them learning skills like how to use the cameras, production skills, getting them on the floor, how to do the sound, and also obviously like the pre-production and the post as well. It's hands-on experience. Really teaches them, and it's the best way of teaching, because of course things always happen on set. It's just how it is. And also as well, we get sort of rotation. So people who might never have considered doing a specific job will kind of go, "Well, have a go at this."
Mhm.
The amount of people that suddenly go, "Oh, I really like this. Oh, actually, maybe I could direct, or maybe, you know." So it's really lovely because it's giving these skills. It's also giving an industry recognised credit,
Oh, amazing.
and the networking is great because, of
Yeah.
course, these people are being seen by some really, important people in the industry who are doing great work, and they're seeing them actually getting on with stuff. And a lot of our team have actually gone on to get cast in things. So
Oh,
I say cast because I'm thinking of the actor head, but actually I got them on the cruise,
amazing.
and got them work, which is fabulous. It's been great.
Oh,
Because then, of course, they're volunteering at the festival as well, and they meet the filmmakers again and all different people. So
oh,
it's been a really lovely way of creating a support network that really gives anybody of any level. Because we've had some people who are actually quite experienced, but they just don't know how to take the next step. Some
okay.
who brand new and just want to learn. Some people who just have no idea how to, how to get into the industry. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's kind of why and how.
Wow. But you know how with how busy you are and how many different kind of elements you have to making sure that everything's running properly. Have you ever had a chance to kind of sit back and kind of look at just before it started and imagine that you'd be able to be doing what you're doing today? It must be pretty amazing.
There's no time for that, no. No, it's yeah, it's all quite busy, but I keep promising myself that I'm going to have a holiday soon.
Yeah, definitely. You deserve one. Goodness me. So let's talk about your brand new film, Liz. Can you tell me a bit about it and kind of give us a glimpse into like the storyline?
Okay, so this is oh, where to even start with here? This film basically came about out of a lot of different things. One, it was last year we had filmed our spotlights with our team,
Yeah.
and it was like everyone was so amazing. They were all doing such a wonderful job. Pardon me. And I was so proud of them all. And I was speaking to the team after, and I went, you know what? They really want to make a film.
Yeah.
We need to make a film with them. And everyone was like, yeah, 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 great idea, great idea. But of
Oh,
course, there's always that thing of funding, isn't there? There's always the
yeah.
kind of like,
Mhm.
and and what to do. And I had at the time, I had a film that was exploring domestic abuse, and it was a short that had done really, really well, that I'd done with a lovely director, and we had the feature for it. And it was very much about a lot of my own story in there, and
Okay.
and we were trying to get funding, and just kept getting told, no, you're too old. No,
Oh my gosh.
it's no, it has to be someone famous. No, yeah, no, we know you'd be great for it, but no, and it was just this real kind of message of like, no, 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 you have to give up on these things.
Yeah.
And it was like, obviously, a real sort of like, oh.
Mhm.
Anyway, the good thing that came from it was it made me go, ah, and I wrote
Yeah.
that on some paper and gave that to the director, who turned it into a fabulous script, which is something
Oh,
that's actually addressing the very thing that happened.
yeah.
But during that, I also went, do you know what? Okay, I need to make something that actually, is really kind of showing that we're not all past it, that
Yeah.
actually, women really matter. And it's not about how we look. It's not about, oh, you've got to come from a particularly privileged group or this or that. It's
Yeah.
stories matter.
Mhm.
And I went, right, okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to bring the team together because this is a social impact film.
Yes.
And and I want to tell this story about how women have got this ridiculous pressure to stay young and beautiful, to be accepted
Mhm.
in society. And the byproduct of that is that actually animals are being murdered and tortured. and children are being used for child labour, kids as young as 5 being sent down mines so that we can have pretty sparkly eyeshadows.
Oh my goodness.
And I was just like, this, this is all nonsense. This is all
Yeah.
utter nonsense. And I thought, it's such a dark subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to tell it in a dark way. I want
Okay.
to tell it with humour, because actually we need to step back and we need to like really look at what's going on, because seriously, I mean, it is just insane. It's like, like faces are getting weirder and weirder.
Aren't they? And they all look the same.
And yeah, everyone's looking the same. It's like that, women are getting shamed for getting older, then they're getting shamed for having work.
Yes.
That it's there's all these things are going wrong. I mean, all this stuff now, because there's only so many times you can have Botox, well, then your face collapses. They've discovered that fillers don't disappear like everyone was told. They just like create big lumps in all other sorts of places, and it's like all this brutalizing ourselves is actually making us all look terrible. We have no idea what the long-term consequences are. The whole starvation thing has come back in again as being fashionable. I mean, it's just so crazy.
Yeah.
So I wrote "Keep Young and Beautiful," and it was like it was such a subject matter that everyone I spoke to went, oh my God, I know, I am so sick of this. I'm so sick of how it feels. I'm just, the pressure. And there wasn't a single person that went, oh, I don't get that.
Wow. That's when you know you've hit the nail on the head, isn't it?
Yeah. It was, it was something that just resonated with everybody. So, so I kind of like went back to the team and went, right, you know how we were saying we're going to do a film with the volunteers? That's what we're going to do. And this is the film.
Yeah.
So it was lovely. We kind of like brought everyone in and sort of started to, like kind of like this is how we do it, took them through the script and went like, this is how we write and this is the point it's at now. So they could see like the changes as I changed the script and stuff like that. And then started building the crew.
Wow.
And actually three of our crew were disabled.
Okay.
It was very, very like people from everywhere, really equal men and women.
Yeah.
It was because it was kind of like we've got to make sure that we hit all the marks.
Of course.
All the food was vegan. The makeup, all of it was environmentally friendly and nothing tested on animals. And I have to say, we did not compromise in any way. There is no need to use products that are tested on animals. It's not in any way. I mean, the makeup on there, because there's a lot of when you see the film, you'd know what I mean.
Okay.
It's the sort of thing that you could look at and go, oh yeah, I don't know if you'd be able to do that with without specialist makeup. But everything is there. You do not need to torture animals for it.
Yeah.
Everything was composted, taken home, and we planted fig trees as well.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, so Liz, with you saying that it was equal in terms of like men to women ratio in the team, did you find that the men still understood and sympathized in a way with the film in the same way that the women did?
Men all get it as well.
Okay.
I mean, men are starting to get pressure too. I mean, there's pressure happening there as well. But the thing is because it's funny.
Okay.
The humor of it, it's like everyone's really, got it, and they all understand. And what I found as well, like all men, most of them have got a sister, a mother, a girlfriend, a wife, or a friend, or and they're all seeing this, and they're all, it's. I don't think there's anyone that's going, oh no, there's not a problem here. I mean, like when you've got 18-year-olds like getting Botox off the high street for like 20 quid a pop.
It's mad, isn't it?
Completely unregulated. There's a problem. The examples, I mean, when you look at the pressure, when people, I mean, incredible talented people like Madonna, like Nicole Kidman, people who, it's like the fact that they've succumbed to the pressure, it just goes to show there's a lot of pressure out there. I mean, Madonna in particular, I mean, someone who's so strong and so strong-willed. The
Yeah.
fact that she's felt that she's got to do this to herself. I mean, that's pretty hardcore. And you know, when you then look at the way, I mean, it's a woman can, like, I don't know, hike around the world on one foot, carrying 2 sofas and 10 men under her
And
arm,
the kids.
and she'll still get asked, "Oh, where did you get your outfit from?
Yeah.
Oh, what products did you use?" You know, and then fart, and it's kind of like, wow, what was your game plan? You know, like what motivated you? What moved you there? You know,
What was your strategy?
it's you know, there was this brilliant thing on Instagram recently where they were different men. They had someone going in using real questions that women get asked all the time when they're being interviewed.
Yes.
And the men just were bursting out laughing because it was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And, you know, so this is, you know, one of these things. I really think humor is such a good way to kind of like look at stuff and really see it. There's something about when you're laughing, you're more open and more responsive as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and it is just so bonkers. I mean, it reminds me of, you know, back in the day when we used to paint ourselves with the lead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, we'd all look back, don't we, and go, what were they thinking? That's so insane. Why did they do that? Well, hello.
Exactly. It's like all those dodgy like implants and stuff that came out years ago that then were like really dangerous and poisoning people, and they had to get them removed just because.
They still are. They are still dangerous. I've got a really close friend of mine who had some breast implants done,
Yeah.
and she was getting terrible headaches, absolute horrendous pain in her neck, like really, really bad headaches. She was going to the doctor all the time. No one made any association. Went on and on. She went back to the surgeon. The surgeon like, no, no, no. She then started finding forums and having a look, and discovered that it is a massive, massive problem, something that isn't getting talked about publicly.
Yeah.
And what it turns out is that actually they slowly are poisoning you. You don't even necessarily have to be leaking. They're
Yeah.
literally in your bloodstream. And I mean, it's like she's had to have them removed.
Oh.
And she couldn't get anyone to do it because none of the surgeons wanted to do it because of the risk of them then getting split and poisoning like that.
Yeah.
But the toxins in her system, it's going to take years to get them out. Now nobody talks about this.
No.
You know, and it's like people go out and get these things. And she did loads of research. Like she's not naive. She's not someone.
Yeah.
She wasn't even particularly young. It was, you know, she was someone who did loads and loads of research and went to the best surgeon that she could possibly get and paid a lot of money. And, you know, this stuff is just not being spoken about because they're making so much money out of it. And it's actually, yeah, I mean, and it's like gaslighting and shaming to make people feel like they have to do this to themselves.
Definitely.
You know, and that was something as well with the film that I want to be really clear about, is that this film is not about shaming anyone that's gone and had work done.
Of course.
Yeah, it's really about saying, look, you know, that something's gone really wrong in society where you know, we're not looking at who we are, what our experiences are, how we treat each other, you know, the things that make us who we are, that's what we should be judged on. Not that, like, oh my God, you've got lines. What, you've had the nerve to laugh?
Yeah, how dare you?
Oh my God, you know, you've been in the sun, in yourself. You know, it's just sort of nuttiness. And actually, I want us to get back to that thing where it used to be that you were revered for your wrinkles, because the more wrinkles you had, the more life you'd lived, the more experience you had. And what a rich and incredible lot of knowledge you've got for that. And you know what? All these things are fads. You know, it's all just how we think about stuff. So at the moment, we're being made to think like this. And the awful thing is that if people keep self-harming themselves, injecting all kinds of things and having all sorts of horrendous, awful treatments done, then the long-term damage is, you know, you're going to be living with that forever.
Yeah.
You know,
and we don't know what that's going to look like, do we?
I mean, already there's all this stuff with people's faces collapsing and things. It's just, you know, so you know, it's a shift. It's a mindset that we need to change. And that comes from talking about it and actually talking about it for real. And also from not making it that, like, like Demi Moore. I love Demi Moore. I think she's fabulous. But it's not what 62-year-olds look like. It's not real. And to say that is,
standard.
It's for God's sake.
Yeah, exactly.
We get beaten all the way through life, being told you've got to look this way, you've got to look that, no, you can't be this. And actually, does that really matter? It's who we are that matters. And that comes from us, having to really kind of stand together and just say, no, we need to stop all these images out on social media and stuff where it's just become normalized to be looking not real.
Yeah. Isn't it difficult though, don't you think, Liz, when, especially as mothers of daughters, we're teaching our daughters that it's all about who they are as a person. It's all about, we bring them up to be kind, to be generous, to be really nice to other people. Yet the way that they are growing up currently, it is literally all about what you look like.
Yeah.
And that's really hard as a mum to try and nurture that self-belief and that self-confidence. But then when they're going out into the world, all they're being shown is the importance of what you look like. And it's so hard to rise above that, isn't it?
It's so hard. It really is. I mean, I have an 18-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
And it shocks me constantly the pressure that is being put on them.
Definitely.
The expectation of how they're supposed to look. And I mean, there was something I read recently about, there was a girl who had become agoraphobic because the pictures she'd been putting out onto Instagram, they were so photoshopped, she was doing so much stuff that people didn't recognize her when she went out, and she stopped going out because who she was, who her face is. She's like, oh no, I can't be like that, because these images that they're supposed to look like aren't real.
Yes, exactly.
And it's, the magazine covers that on television. I mean, all the stuff, it's like all the things that get done to make people look different.
Yeah.
And it's so unrealistic, that they're completely unrealistic expectations.
Definitely.
And I feel like there needs to be regulation with it. And I hate we change it, blah, blah, blah. But it just feels really out of control. And emphasis on women, on the way they look, and we are judged so much harsher than men.
Totally. Yeah.
And, it's always about how she looks. And there needs to be more normal women, and not where they go to that extreme where they get someone who's like the other spectrum and go, it just needs to be normal and healthy. Healthy needs to be the norm.
Yeah, that needs to be the new buzzword, doesn't it? Healthy and normal.
Yeah, and it's like this whole kind of like having to have these ginormous eyelashes that you can't see out of.
Yeah.
These like ginormous lips, and it's sort of like the face. It's it's like a caricature.
Yes.
So so it does feel like it's a fad that has got really out of control, and I think that we've got to bring that back. And I think film is such a powerful way of doing that.
Yeah,
100%. It's a platform where actually you can bring everyone together and speak about these things as well, and talk about it, and in a safe environment where it's the real, because there's a reason why we have these insecurities. We all have different childhood traumas. Anybody escapes anything.
No, definitely not.
And it's like, these are the things that need to be dealt with. It's about going back inside and healing. And at the moment, what happens is you've got some sort of trauma, or and someone comes along and goes, well, you'll be really happy if you look like this, So,
we're being sold that though, aren't we, by these companies, whether it's makeup brands or surgeons or whatever it is, or celebrities that are completely different to what they look like in real life, telling us that this is what we need.
Yes, and this will make you happy.
Yes.
And we're not going to the root of the things that make us sad or insecure or troubled or any of that stuff. And
Yeah.
that's got to change. And, you know, our children are the ones that are really vulnerable to that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like what you were saying, you know, we try and teach them all these values. And the problem is that if society is just slamming them with these really toxic pressures, it's
Yeah.
very, very difficult.
It
You
is. Like when we were younger, if you think about it, like when we were at school, the only people that we had to compare ourselves with our friends, people that we read about in magazines, or people on the TV. Right now, our kids have this in the palm of their hand 24 hours a day, and they're able to see this stuff. I can't imagine how much, for me personally, that would have even more dented my confidence when I was at school, to be dealing with that as well as everything else.
I know. I mean, it's quite mind-boggling, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, because it's that thing as well of like being afraid to show your face without makeup, or
Mhm.
you know, not yeah, and it's not even like it's just a bit of makeup, it's a lot of makeup.
Yeah,
You know, it's, and I mean that's not good for you as well. You know, it's not good.
exactly.
Yeah, it's not good for your mental health, or good for you
Mhm.
physically. And I mean, also, so we spoke about it before, but like the testing of products on animals,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, that is something that's got to stop. I mean,
Yeah.
they've made it illegal here,
Mhm.
and yet it's okay to buy products from other countries that are doing, you know, that are doing this.
Yeah. Well, they shouldn't be able to set foot on our shores if it's illegal, surely.
I mean, and the child labour as well. And I mean, the thing is,
Mhm.
I do not believe that people want to support child labour or animal testing. In
No.
fact, like when we were crowdfunding for the film, I was really shocked at how many people believed that they don't test products on animals anymore.
Oh, really?
A lot of people didn't know that, and most people didn't know about the child labour.
Okay.
And this once again comes down to all these beautiful flashy commercials and these beautiful women, you know, looking gorgeous, and you've been told you buy this you're going to look like her, and you do, you know, and it's all this advertising. And actually, you know, these companies who are making billions, absolute billions, and they're hiding behind third party companies that are doing the most absolutely horrendous things. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just absolutely horrendous. And they're not getting called out because
Mhm.
people don't know about it.
Yeah.
You know, we are so powerful as consumers. We are
Yes.
incredibly powerful. And this, you know, not only for, you know, if we didn't buy the products that are tested on animals or that use child labor, they would stop making them, because these companies, the only language they understand is money.
Yeah, of course.
You know, you can send them the horrific details who you're blue in the face. They don't care. They
Yeah.
just love money. That is their God.
It's a business to them at the end of the day. They're not
Yeah.
bothered.
Yeah. So if we stop buying it, they will change. They
Yeah.
will stop making it. And I believe it's the same with, if we stand together and we all come together and we start making it really positive, like start
Yeah.
celebrating older women. And this is something as well with representation, because on television, in films, there was a survey that was done recently that there's a fabulous
Yeah.
campaign called Acting Her Age. And they
Oh, I
did,
think I saw that. Yeah.
so they found for every four actors over 45, and
Yeah.
and these are men still getting lead roles over 45, you have just one actress. And
Wow.
these actresses are getting, you know, the small minor roles, whereas we've got
Mhm.
60-year-old men still getting cast in action films as the lead
Wow.
with their 30-year-old girlfriends. So
Yeah, of course. Who has all the Botox and all of the surgery?
it's the thing is that that's a really powerful thing, because most people won't realize that. Until I started really looking into these things, I didn't realize just how unbalanced it is. Now,
Okay.
when you've got men being shown really positively when they're older, being shown as capable, being strong, you know, being able to do all these really wonderful positive influences.
Yeah.
That means that older men are still revered and still valued in society. It's a subtle message put out there.
Yeah, of course.
Whereas, like, for women, they're like literally making a bacon butty, you know, dropping in, like, well, the men sit around the thing, you know, if she's over 45. I mean, even to the point, you'll have like a man who's 50 and his mother will be played by a 50-year-old.
Yeah.
Perish the thought of showing, you know, a mother, a real aged mother. And there's more women in the world than there is men.
Yeah.
Yet we're not being, you know, we're being really sidelined. And this is damaging to men as well, because it means that men also see us as you know, not valid after these ages.
Over the hill.
Yeah, over the hill. You know, it's all kind of like, oh, you're just, you know, nothing to bring to the table. And this devaluing is a direct link back to a fear of age. And so when you've got like these young girls going, oh my God, once I get to that age, that's it, it's all over. You know, it's all done. And then you've got like women sort of like, you know, getting to sort of like into the 40s and going, wow, but I still feel great and I've got more to give. I've got so much more. Right, and I've got these goals in life. And it's like, well, no, sorry, no, you're not allowed that.
You know? And that's incredibly damaging in terms of not just how we perceive the way that we look, but on our confidence. Because I believe as you get older, like you say, as you've had more experiences, you do begin to get more comfortable in yourself, kind of you discovering who you are. And I think it's such a pivotal time in our lives when we get to that point. And I think maybe when we're younger, we're not actually even there yet. So when we get to this point, it's like the world should be our oyster.
And you know, and that's the thing why it's so unfair. I mean, like on this thing of going, well, you know, if you haven't made it in your 20s, then sorry, we're not interested. Because it's, you know, and what that does as well is it really it cuts out people that have come from very difficult backgrounds.
Of course.
Because, you know, if you're like 18, 19, 20, around that sort of age, you know, for you to be able to take advantage of support, you've got to be supported.
Of course.
You know, you have to, you know, you have to have some help and support there. You have to have grown up with some stability, had some parents that have been there for you, or a parent that's been there for you. You know, you've got to have that. But if you've grown up in absolute like chaos, abuse, deprivation, poverty, any of those things, you are not going to be capable of taking advantage of that help at that time, because you're going to be sorting it out.
Yeah, of course.
You might not sort it out until you're in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s.
Yeah, exactly.
But do you know what? If you can get through horrendous experiences and come out the other side, you are so valuable. Your experiences are valuable. And to dismiss those experiences and those people is a massive flaw in the way that the society is set up. And I think what it is so often is that the gatekeepers, who I don't think that they're being mean and horrible and going, well, we're going to come, but they don't realise, because the gatekeepers have generally come from a place where, you know, you've got money, you make money, and
of course.
you know, and it's like, and so they look and they go, oh, well, we must help the 18, the 19-year-olds, or the, you know, because which is
the next generation.
And don't get me wrong, we have to help them as well. I'm not saying, but they write off people and they go, well, if they haven't done it in their 20s, then they're of no value. And they're missing the point, that they're missing out, actually, you know, that there are different backgrounds, and they're, you know, men are still being kind of funded and allowed as they get older. And women aren't. We're judged. And you even get it where women who start off, they're doing really well, and then they go and have a family and come back as if like they haven't done anything. And actually, like, to have a family and to have done all that stuff, that's like kudos, that's even more experience.
Exactly.
Without anybody going, well done. You know, there is no congratulations each day after that. Or any bonuses, you know, like, wow, you've dealt with that tantrum so well. But hey, we're going to give you a promotion. You know, there's none of that. So I think there's also that thing where as women, we get quite used to not being listened to, not being heard, and having to fight extra, having to really things. I mean, it's even stuff like you go to the doctors and it's like kind of, you know, you don't get listened to. And there's a study just now about autism, and they're going, oh, we didn't study women in autism because we thought it was just men that got it, just boys that got it. So all these years they've been, you know, like looking at that, thinking that, oh, it's very rare. There's so many women out there who've just like, you know, it's the boat's been missed. And that happens all the time because once again, the gatekeepers are men. So they do these trials, and there's so many drugs trials out there where like it's drugs for just women that have never been tested on women because apparently, like, because of our cycles, we're not reliable.
Oh my God, that is insane. This is like a revelation.
Crazy. I had a really good friend of mine, is a journalist. And I remember like when she first broke a story writing about this, and it was just like, what? You were giving us drugs that have never been tested on us, that are only for women. And they're not doing it because it's unpredictable, because we've got menstrual cycles. I mean, obviously that doesn't affect the drugs. I mean, it's just like, you know, but once again, it's like if you don't have people in those positions of power who understand, of course they're not going to be able to make those decisions that help us. You know, it's still so male heavy. You know, and
definitely. Have you found, Liz, since you've made Keep Young and Beautiful, have you found that those conversations are being opened up to you? I know that you said that you obviously approach people and they were kind of like, you know, we won't fund you because of X, Y, and Z. Now that the film is actually, you know, filmed, so to speak, are more people listening because they're
to
in a connection?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, this from the moment when I first wrote this, when I got it out to the script, everyone that read it went, "Oh my God, yes, okay, like I want to be involved." Yes, it's like, but the getting the funding for it. I mean, we crowdfunded for that, and like people were really supportive. I didn't go down the route of applying for funds or anything because there wasn't enough time, but I wouldn't have got it anyway because I'm I don't fit into any of the boxes for that stuff. But I crowdfunded for it, and it was a revelation. People getting in touch, just being like, realize that this is happening, and so many people like going like, I've got daughters, I'm so worried, I don't know what to do, you know. And men and women, and so many men. I mean, men have been so supportive of this project.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, it's like, this isn't something that is just a woman's problem. Like, you know, everyone is aware of it, and it's just this awful vacuum of like celebrityism, where we're being told that this is the way you've got to look. And once upon a time, it was like plastic surgery was this kind of thing where, you know, it was sort of like, oh, the big Hollywood elites would have it. But now,
like the Playboy bunny girls from the mansion.
But now it's so easy to get your hands on anything. You know, it's like, you know, and there's all these like these payment plans and this and that, and you know, and there's so much pressure, and it's like it just feels really bizarre that we've got, you know, in this Western world that has so much money in it, where we've got people in our country starving, you know, families where their kids are going hungry, they can't turn their heating on, they can't, and then we're like wasting money on injecting ourselves with all kinds of stuff and having all these things done to ourselves, and it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't fit, does it?
No, it doesn't. But it's not. It's pressure that is being put on people, that this is your worth, this is your value. You know, if you look like that, well, of course your life's going to be rubbish. You know, you've got to look like this, and then you're going to be happy. And it is that we are being bombarded with that like all the time. It's just, it's so insidious. You know, it really,
I mean, but people start with chasing that need because they think that these things are going to make them happy, but then it becomes addictive to also, because I think I saw an interview with Katie Price the other day, and people were obviously concerned about the way that she was looking, the amount of surgeries that she's had over the years, and she said, you know, I have such little confidence in myself. I've never thought that I was pretty, but put me in front of a camera and I'll be able to take the best picture. But outside, away from that camera, I think so little of myself. That's why I'm constantly trying to make myself look different, which was really sad.
It is, but this comes back to what I was saying with like that there's a reason for getting these things done. And
Yes.
you know, it's an answer that we're being told that it will be the solution.
It's a quick fix, isn't it?
But actually it doesn't change. There's a reason, you know, and it doesn't matter how many bits you get done because you get
Yeah.
dysmorphic with it, you know. So it's like you get a little bit of in the lip, and then you become used to that. So then suddenly, oh, my lips are still thin.
Yeah.
You know, it goes on and on and on. And you know, and also as well, it's quite interesting that of her saying that because, you know, going back to people like Madonna,
Yeah.
like the amount of pressure on them on how they're supposed to look,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it just makes you wonder, like, you know, some of the most beautiful people in the world can be the most insecure people because they're being measured up all the time,
Yeah.
you know, being compared all the time. Every time they're in the newspaper or the thing, it's like, oh, she's looking a bit tired, or she's a bit this, or oh,
Yeah.
she, you know, that's always going on. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like we look at them, we go, oh, they're all so gorgeous and they're so dazzling and they're blah blah blah, or
Yeah.
everyone has a bitch about them, or any of that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But actually, you know, we forget they're human beings, they're real people, and
Definitely.
that pressure that they're getting must be insane.
Yeah. In the spotlight constantly.
You know, and like constantly having your face flashed up there and being talked about
Mm-hmm.
and ripped apart and all of that. But the thing that gets me is that that is now happening to people who have no public life.
Yeah.
You know, it like none at all. Yet
Mm-hmm.
somehow it's filtered right down, and it's just, you know, it needs to stop. It really
Yeah.
does stop.
I think you need to get your film seen by, I don't know if you've seen Pamela Anderson recently. She's like
Oh, she's
refused
great.
everything. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Like she doesn't wear makeup. She said, I don't want to. It's the same with Alicia Keys. She stopped wearing makeup, going completely natural. And I just think to have role models like that is
Yes.
amazing.
Do you know what? Hats off to them because it's so
Definitely.
true. Because Pamela Anderson, she's beautiful.
Yeah,
She's so
exactly. She
gorgeous.
didn't need all of that anyway.
In fact, she's more beautiful now. There's something so like elegant and graceful with her.
Yes.
And Alicia Keys, I mean, it's just I
Mhm.
love Alicia Keys. Yeah. Do you know what? I would love to get them to
Yeah,
watch because that's what we really need. We need some ambassadors behind this
definitely.
film who could
Mhm.
really get this message out there because, you know, that's what it takes. When
Yeah.
you've got people standing up and you're actually going like, oh, actually she does look really gorgeous, and
Mhm.
you know she doesn't need all that stuff, and actually she
Yeah,
looks happy and confident. And we need more examples. We need more older women on the screen that
definitely.
become normalized instead of hiding them away. And the
Yeah.
only time of having an older woman, she's playing, you know, like an old
A
bitch.
granny or
Yeah,
something.
you know,
Mhm.
it's like actually because the reality is, it's like, you know, when you're 50s, 60s, you're still working, you're still doing
Yeah.
all kinds of like really important jobs. In fact, you're doing more important jobs because you've got more experience and more skill. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're represented on the television, you know, it's sort of like you have some like 20-year-old, you know,
Mhm.
scientists of the world.
Yeah.
Oh, but you know, it needs to be normalized that older women are actually part of society and are actually a really valuable part of society.
Definitely.
Yeah, and that comes to also coming back to people that finance films. They need to finance films with older women in, because
Yes.
there's still this thing of like the gatekeepers that are financing all the films. They
Mhm.
still want the young pretty things, you know, bouncing
Yeah.
around all over the place, and the men can be as old as whatever. It doesn't
I
matter.
know. It's not predatory at all.
Yeah, yeah. We wonder why we've got this like these problems.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, and the thing is, it's like when there are films about older women, people love them because there's
Yeah,
more of us in the
exactly.
world. We want to see this. I mean, there
Yeah.
was I've completely forgotten the name of it now. The fabulous film with Annette Bening and Jodie Foster about the swimmer.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Oh my God, it was incredible. It should have won the Oscar. I
Oh,
just don't know how it didn't. And I didn't watch it for ages. I didn't see it. There was like no marketing around it. I watched it, and I watched it with a guy, and the two of us were on the edge of our seats. I mean, I was sobbing with joy at the end. But like even, and he's a real like bloke, you know, whatever, you know. And completely mesmerized by it as well. So this thing that like men only want to watch, you know, young girls scantily
yeah.
clad, it's not true. You know,
Hmm.
they're actually far more intelligent than they've been given credit for. And
Yeah.
I really saw this with this film, you know, with this project, the lovely men that came on board and went, yeah, this is so important. We're going to help. You know, we want to help as well. So,
Yeah.
you know, so I just think it's like the gatekeepers at the top. They need to really wake up and need to start supporting what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Or step to the side and allow somebody else with a more open mind and who wants to see inclusivity when it comes to all the ageism that's going on.
Well, it's the people that control the money that's the problem. They're
Yeah.
the ones, you know, that are funding the films. So there needs to be, but it's us all coming together and going, this is what we want.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely. It's like with you saying about, you know, power as a consumer, it's power as a consumer of media in a
yes,
way, you know,
yeah,
if people stand up and say something. I mean, talking about the support that you had on the film, Liz, like you have such an impressive cast and crew. Like from I'm going to read this out from an Emmy-nominated director who directed Game of Thrones, stars of shows like Doctor Who, Waterloo Road, Law and Order, Shetland, EastEnders. How did Was it purely because of the content, do you think, in the script and the subject matter that
yeah. They all read the script and went, we want to be part of this.
oh,
Yeah, and it was like there was such a strong sense of camaraderie. So I mean, we had no money. I mean, it was we didn't raise enough money to make this film,
okay.
like, not remotely. Um, and these incredible actresses and lovely Neil, you know, that everyone just went, no, we're making this, and we all came together and we knew we were doing something really important.
Yeah.
Like just it really you know, and it feels that now. It's like, I mean, we've only just finished the film. It like literally it was like a few days ago.
Oh,
It's right now. This is time for the journey. But
yeah,
even to organizing the premiere, well, it's not the premiere, sorry, the cast and crew screening.
yeah.
It's like cinemas are so expensive. I mean, they just cost
Okay.
a fortune. And I wrote, you know, basically was kind of like, oh my God, we're never going to do with this. And then the lovely Phoenix Cinema like went, oh my God, this, you know, what you're doing. Yeah, we want to support this. And like, and then someone else stepped in and it's like put some money to pay for it. But it was, you know, at a really, you know, at a rate that actually was achievable.
Yeah,
And then this lovely, incredible place, the beautiful bar, which I thought, oh, you know, because we've got no money, there's no one. They were like, no, of course you can come and have here, yes, you know, and
oh my
can we come and
goodness.
see the film? Can we? But you know, and it's just like, you know, it was really okay. This is something that resonates.
Yeah,
People are recognizing and seeing that this matters,
yeah.
and that gives me so much hope because
Oh,
you can scroll through Instagram and just kind of want to cry and go like
yeah.
that actually that this is a time for change. People do want change,
Yeah,
and this film is a way that we can actually, you know, use it as a tool for change
of
because it
course.
can bring people together. We can have Q&As after, we can talk about this. The more articles, you know, people like yourself, you know, but like talking to me about it and putting this out there, the more things that are written about it, that are spoken about it,
Yeah,
the more that gets out there, the more the message reaches people who are also feeling the same, the
yeah.
more numbers that we stand together, the more
Mhm.
powerful we are, and we can change.
Definitely. Yeah. I can definitely put you in contact with quite a few journalists that I'm friends with as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing because it's really this feels like this is time now for change.
Yeah.
We can't carry on like this. It's not okay. It's
Mhm.
not empowering women and making them feel better about themselves. It's actually making them feel worse about themselves.
I think it needs to be a new narrative, doesn't it? And I think with what you're doing, I think is a real catalyst for change. And if you can speak to, you know, like publications, like magazines and things, and if you can start drip feeding this to their readers, then it's the conversation is going to start. And I think it's really important.
And do you know what? It's like what we read, what we see every day, that's what influences us in so many
Definitely.
ways. And, you know, particularly like younger people, because they are all totally addicted to, you
Yeah.
know, social media and computers now. You
And
say,
easily influenced as well. That's the
oh,
thing.
get so easily influenced. I mean, you think when you're young, you are, aren't you?
Yeah,
You
definitely.
know? I mean, like your brain's not developed until you're 25.
Yeah. But
It's,
we want to be influencing the next generation of girls to aim for, you know, their mind being the most beautiful thing. It doesn't matter what is on the outside, but until we can get society to change its ideals, then it's futile sometimes for us to be teaching our girls that the mind is the most important and who you are as a person.
yeah, no,
Frustrating, isn't it?
we definitely need to be supported, and you
Yeah,
know, media is the way it needs to join forces with us, and things need
I
to
think
change.
so.
It needs to stop being sort of shaming of women for like putting on
Yeah,
weight, or you know, losing weight, putting it on, you
yeah,
know, the looking this way, looking, oh, she looks tired, oh, that's terrible. You know,
yeah.
that just needs to stop. It needs to be like, what's she actually done? What's she achieved?
Mhm.
Oh wow, you know, those are the things that matter.
Yeah.
And that's got to, you know, we need to keep that, talking about that, but also like the media needs to start focusing on that as well.
Definitely. I remember back in my day when I would read like Shout magazine or whatever it was at the time, and on the front page was always celebrities with no makeup or like look who's looking rough today and stuff. And it's like this
Yeah,
was like this is what we went to, like the sections we went to. Oh my goodness, like she looks so different without makeup, but it was okay to do that. So we as women have grown up with that kind of narrative, got to the age that we are and been like, oh my God, so that means the same for me. You know, I'm going to be shamed. Yes, I'm not a celebrity or I won't be on the front of a magazine, but you've still got that little voice in the back of your head going, oh, but do I look okay? You know, and that stems from the stuff that we have consumed.
absolutely. And now the consumption is so much higher.
It's instantaneous in the palm of your hand, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, totally.
I feel like we need to go on a march or something.
It does. It does. It feels like there really needs to be a moment of just going like, right, actually, this has to stop. That has
Yeah.
to be changed. We can't keep doing this.
Mhm.
No, we really can't. And we need to combine with men as well on this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the whole narrative needs to change, because it's this awful kind of thing of like, you know, women are meant to look pretty, they're meant to look nice, that's their only worth. And it
Yeah.
is constantly being put out there, and that's being reiterated by the way that the media not only portrays us, you know, in the news and all of that stuff, but
Yeah.
also in films so
Yeah.
often. You know, we
Definitely.
need more older women, powerful roles, strong women. And it's not that they all have to be angelic or anything. I mean, it's like, you know, but just seeing that actually we exist.
Yeah. And not being overlooked.
Yeah, because that's what's happening, just constantly overlooked. So no wonder there's this fear of aging, because
Yeah.
it, you know, it, that's something that we're being taught right from a young age, that there's no positive about someone older. And
Yeah.
then people are like, oh, but what about Jane Judy Jones? No, one woman that everybody else.
How many can you name? Like literally.
Yeah. It's, you know, and and there's got to be more of this. There just needs to be more examples, more positive examples of older women, because we're there, and
Yeah.
women get more as they grow older. They are
Mhm.
doing so much more and achieving so much more, and that needs to be talked about and celebrated.
Definitely. I wonder whether it's worth like thinking about the creative side of things and where this is going to be able to be making the biggest change, what about going to the actual writers of these things in films? So going to the script writers and targeting them as well.
So there's a lot of people writing stuff for older women, but it's not getting funded.
Right.
That's the
Okay.
thing. Because, and this is what I mean, like at the top of the chain, the
Yeah.
people that have got all the money are generally white men.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. I mean, this is where indie film is so important.
Yeah.
It's such a powerful forum because this is where, you know, you can create and make your own films. But if
Exactly.
funding is always the problem. So
Yeah.
short films you can manage, you know,
Mhm.
get things out there more. So there needs to be more of a space for short films, which is also part of, like, going back to the Soho LIFF, you
Yeah.
know, why it's like we champion films with social and environmental impact, because,
Definitely.
you know, we can get stories that would never make it out otherwise, and we
Yeah.
can them and we can speak about them, and it's incredible the change that can happen. Because you sit and watch a film and you get moved by it, and then
Yeah.
someone going, right, well, I am actually doing this and I need people to help me to do this and this, and
Mhm.
you can make a difference.
Yeah, and it's
So
quite intimate in that setting as well, isn't it? Like, I've been to a few film festivals with Molly, my daughter, and the power that comes with independent filmmaking and seeing it on the big screen and having those people that have created that masterpiece sitting like in, you know, the row in front of you, and being able to connect with them and network and really see that passion from a one-to-one bit. It's just incredible.
independent film is incredibly powerful,
It
and I've
is.
really noticed over the years, it's like, since doing the Soho LIFF, we've been getting more and more people who aren't filmmakers, because quite
Yeah.
often film festivals can be really filmmaker heavy, and like the public
Okay.
doesn't know about them.
Yeah.
And we've been so happy because we've had a lot of the public starting to come to the Soho,
Amazing.
and they're blown away. They're like, we just didn't know this existed. The
Yeah,
quality of films and the stories, they're all things that matter. And you know, people want stuff that means something. You know,
definitely.
you don't want yet another Raiders of the Lost Ark, or
Yeah.
so. I mean,
Another Fast and the Furious 27.
I mean, it's like people want something that actually they can relate to, or they can
Yes.
learn something from, or grow from. And you know,
Mhm.
we all have, like, you know, a fun sort of thing out there as well. There's
Yeah,
definitely that too, but there's also a place where we can actually go, oh, I'm not alone,
yeah, totally.
you know, or just also seeing other people's stories and realizing
Mhm.
what other people are going through. You learn so many things from these films.
Definitely. It's
Yeah.
powerful. So the cast and crew obviously are just incredible for Keep Young and Beautiful. Did I know that they came on board because of their passion about what, you know, the subject matter, but did they share any of their experiences personally with you?
Oh God, we had long, long, long conversations. I mean, everybody recognised the script.
Oh, oh.
Like everyone had this experience. It was
Mhm.
and yeah, everybody is frustrated and sick of it.
Yeah.
They're just like, you know, how do we stop it? What do we do? And um, yeah, and I mean, they're amazing women. I mean, they're just such an incredible cast. So,
Oh,
so, so lucky to have them on board. So their performances are just absolutely incredible.
so excited to see it. I
Oh
can't
my God,
wait.
they are so funny. I mean,
Oh,
I obviously, you know, because I've been like sat in on the edits and all that sort of stuff. I've
yeah,
watched so many times, and generally with these sorts of things, you kind of like start, you know, like it morphs in a bit, and you kind of become
yeah.
things like this. Every time I watch it, it still makes it really does. It just
Oh, Liz, because of like all of the work that you do, obviously with the Soho Liff, like this film has only just finished. You mentor creatives, young creatives as well in the industry. How do you find a balance between all of it, or are they all so intertwined it kind of feels like one job?
oh well, yeah. I mean, it's yeah, it's full on. It is. full on. I mean, I do meditate. I meditate twice a day.
Okay.
I don't think I'd manage if I didn't meditate. Yeah.
No hair left. You'll be pulling it out.
And I have a beautiful dog who's actually sat right next to me right now.
Oh,
He's with me everywhere. So she keeps me like grounded, because it makes sure we go out for a walk every single day,
okay. Fresh
Yeah.
air.
She comes with me everywhere as well. I mean, she's actually done the spotlights with me on set,
Oh,
lying at my foot while I'm interviewing people. So yeah, so those are my kind of keep me grounded and keep
yeah.
going sort of things.
Oh. What
Yeah,
what what do you hope that people, when people do watch the film, what do you hope that they'll take away from it? Like, what will they think and feel?
I hope that they will feel empowered to start loving themselves for themselves, and
Oh,
start, recognizing and acknowledging that these toxic behaviors that are being thrust on us are not because we're not enough, or because we're old and we're ugly and we're this and that. That actually it's just marketing, and
yes.
we are all being marketed to, and they're
Mhm.
doing it by tapping into our most insecure vulnerabilities, and
Yeah.
actually it's not our fault. And
Mhm.
I really hope it will inspire people to start actually loving themselves for who they are, and
Oh,
there to be a revolution of this, for these, these horrendous marketing techniques and tactics to
mhm.
be stopped. And that I really hope that the media will get on our side and will, support us with this. And I
Definitely.
really hope it will inspire people to not buy anything that has used child labour or animal testing as well, and for people to really check that.
Yeah, I think that's so important because even, I mean, I've heard of obviously animal testing and stuff, but I didn't think that there was so many companies now that do it. And then with child labor for those kind of things, I didn't know that either. So,
It's shocking. It's
mhm.
absolutely shocking. And and the thing is, they hide behind these third party. I mean, there's companies that say that they don't do animal testing, but then when you actually look into it,
Yeah.
their company that's the name doesn't, but the company that they make their products with does. You know,
Oh, that's
it's
disgusting.
really disgusting. So you have to just do a little bit of a Google. They have to be PETA or
Yeah.
Bunny,
Leaping bunny.
Leaping Bunny. And if a company sells cosmetics or creams in China, they test on animals, because in
Oh,
China the law is you are not allowed to sell a product that hasn't been tested on animals.
you're joking.
It's insane, isn't it? So any products that are sold in China are being tested on animals. So if something says it's not tested on animals over here, but they sell them in China, don't buy them as well.
Okay.
And if we all do that, those companies will stop doing it, because it won't be worth their while.
Exactly. And they care far more about profit over passion.
Absolutely. And I mean the child labour thing, I mean, it's just disgusting.
It's archaic, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like, I mean, imagine if we had like child labour over here. I mean, people would be disgusted and
Yeah.
horrified. You
Mhm.
be able to go, well, it's all right if it's, in another country. You know,
Yeah. It's
it's
almost like people think out of sight, out of mind kind of thing.
yeah, but I do believe that people are good, and I don't believe that people want to support this. And
Definitely not.
I think it is purely that they have no awareness,
Yeah,
because it's not marketed like that. You know,
exactly.
it's all we are all part of this big campaign to make a lot of money for people,
Yeah,
and it's coming at the cost of the most vulnerable in our societies, and
definitely.
making us really vulnerable as
Yeah.
well.
And our own mental health being affected by the barrage of crap, for wanting a better word, that they're throwing our way.
Yeah,
It's psychologically abusive to do that to consumers, to make them think and make their mindset think that they need to buy their product, otherwise, they're going to feel worse. It's bizarre.
no, I know it is. It's really bad. It's yeah, it's like terrorism, isn't it? It's like
Yeah,
of like, this like psychological terrorism on all of
yeah.
it. And you know, we are being drip fed this constantly, and our children are getting it from such a young age.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you've got like young kids who've got beauty regimes and stuff now.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, like playing and getting muddy and like, could you
No, eating worms.
what happened to eating worms?
You fell over and grazed yourself, rub a bit of dirt on it and run it off.
It's like, it's just crazy. It's like
Yeah,
kids' childhoods have been taken away. Been going and getting nails and stuff like you know,
no.
9-year-olds having nail parties. You're just
With their little headbands on and they've got their skincare routines and stuff. It's crazy.
it's so bad, and it's just taking away something really special and really important.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So I hope this film can be a massive catalyst for change.
Yes, I definitely think it will be. How can people see the film, Liz? Will it do it like its festival run first, or?
Yeah, so we've got the cast and crew screening coming up, and then it will start its festival run.
Amazing.
So there's an Instagram page that
Okay.
we'll have all the announcements of everything. I mean, it's literally just been finished.
Yeah.
So we will start putting it in the festivals, and then we'll start announcing stuff. So if people are local to the festival and want to come, they can come and see it there. Once
Amazing.
it's finished its festival run, I'm hoping that it will get distribution and will
Yeah.
be out. But I'd also like to use it for anyone that's interested in using it for campaigns or anything as well.
Okay.
You know, so you know, stuff to help with all of this, you know,
Yeah.
screenings with it too. So I want as many people as possible to see it. And I want people to laugh and enjoy themselves and
Yeah.
see it for what it is, and then for us all to have really good discussions about it and make some plans that really do make a difference, and to bring everyone together, you know,
Yeah.
to strengthen us in this community and actually make changes.
Definitely. Well, I'll put all of the contact details and the Instagram page and stuff and on the show notes. But finally, Liz, what is the goal for you? What's your big dream personally? Because you've been through a lot, haven't you? You've done a lot, you've been through a lot. What would you like to see happen for you?
Okay, well, are we talking on sort of like everything, the ultimate big?
Yes, the whole magic wand level.
Okay, all right. So basically, I want to be in a situation where I can fund films with the Soho Liff, so that I can really help people to make films, and be making my own films as well. But ultimately, I want to buy a beautiful, lovely place where I rescue animals.
Oh,
Yeah, and I want to have an old people's home where the people in the old people's home each have a rescue animal that they're responsible for.
oh my God, that's so cute.
And yeah, so like older animals that never get rescued.
Yeah. So there's a common theme here, isn't there?
Oh yeah. And then also for children to be there instead of like all these exorbitant expensive child creches and stuff, for families to be able to put them in the old people's home, because old people have got loads of time and they can give that time and energy to the kids. It makes value our society as well. The animals are being rescued, the animals and the children are rescuing the old people.
Oh my God, I love this.
I know, it's like, and everyone's going to be doing qigong and yoga as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I want to have my own little refuge too. And yeah, I'm actually, just because I haven't got enough to do, I'm also training to be a yoga teacher.
Of course you are.
Which I'm going to be fully qualified for at the end of June. Which
congratulations.
But yeah, I want to have a whole sort of like mental well-being thing going alongside
Amazing.
Rescuing animals and having a lovely safe place for people to come to, and I want to make that accessible to everybody, you know, people that really need it, that could never afford to go to retreats and stuff like that, but to have a beautiful, lovely space. And
oh my gosh, right, you've put this into the world now. That's you're manifesting it now, so it has to happen.
Yes, I have big plans for it. Yeah.
Oh, it's been absolutely, honestly, I could talk to you all day. It's been absolutely wonderful to chat to you, and I'm so excited to see like the trajectory of the journey of the film. I think it's going to be huge.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm really excited about it. I think it's got some legs. So I'm pretty excited.
It has. It's got legs and arms and wings and everything. Bless you. Thank you so much, Liz.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Thank you.
you.